Good morning, everyone. We'll continue here in Kitzur Hilchos Shabbos, the laws of Boirer, and he says over a small little chapter today that is a little bit repetitious from things that we've learned, but I think he's doing it because we have to get this idea very clear so that we should understand what is Boirer and what is not Boirer. Maisa Boirer, the action of Boirer mitzad tzuras Maisa Malacha, it has to resemble the Malacha, that prohibited action which took place in the building of the Mishkan. Just like all of the malachis that we have given over to us the way in which it is done. And if you don't do it the way that it was done in the construction and the building and the forming of the Mishkan, then you did not transgress. We call it this, that you have to do it in the tzura, in the way, the form of the malacha. So too when it comes to Boirer, we understand how the malacha is supposed to look. That is, we wrote this above already. The way of Boirer, of separating, is to separate between the food, that which you do want, from the pseilis, the refuse, that which you don't want. Hamalacha loinases ad shemafridim mamish ben ha'oichel v'apseilis, and the malacha is not transgressed until you actually separate between one and the other. Besides that which you want to prepare the food so you'll be able to eat it through the separation, you have to do the action in the way in which the malacha was done. Therefore, when there is a piece, in one piece of, like for example, we'll see of meat, where part of it is food and part of it is pseilis, what you don't want. For example, you have fatty meat, so part of it is delicious meat. Part of it is the fat you don't want. It's all connected. You don't want the shuman. You don't want the fat. So then the fat, that which is connected to the meat, is considered to be the pseilis. It is considered the refuse, that which you do not want. So you are allowed to remove the fat if you cut in the place of habasakan, where the meat is, or you cut where the shuman, where the fat is. We'll see how that works. And if you cut in the place where the food is, the meat, even though that you're making the food now fit for eating, since you didn't create a real separation between them, you did not do Boirer in the way in which it was done in the Mishkan, which means when you were separating between the good and the bad. And therefore it's as if you cut the food, or you cut the pseilis, what you don't want, the shnaim, into two separate things. He's going to explain how this works. What does it mean over here when you cut in the place of the meat? You cut some of the meat together with the fat, and that way you're never separating oichel from pseilis. You're cutting out the food and the bad altogether, and therefore there is really no isser of Boirer at all. This is the same thing we wrote about earlier, where you want to remove a bug, a fly, from your drink. You put your spoon into the cup of wine, and together with the fly, you take out some wine as well. So you're taking oichel, food, from pseilis, from what you don't want. Even though that now that you remove the wine and the bug together, now the rest of the wine that's in the cup is fit for drinking, and you're fixing that up. Now that's really what Boirer is all about, that you should have what you want to eat. However, you didn't just remove the pseilis. That's like the piece of meat that's together with the fat. We said you can cut it in the place of the meat itself. And the place where the fly is floating in there, there's really no mixture between the eichel and the pselis. It's kind of its own entity. You're just removing the bad from within the good when it is all together as one. He brings down one opinion over here that there are those who hold that you have to pour the wine out of the cup, and so the fly kind of falls out together with the wine. But Lamaisa, the way that we normally do it, and this is to keep in mind, this is the best way to avoid the prohibition of bayrer. When you have fatty meat, so you are allowed to cut the shuman, the fat, away. But you should cut it together with some of the meat, and that way it's eichel and pselis being cut together, no prohibition of bayrer. When you have a fly that has fallen into your cup of wine, or your soda, or your drink, or your grape juice, whatever it might be, put your spoon into the cup under the fly, and take some of the liquid out together with the fly, and that way you have eichel and pselis together. There's no bayrer. If you do it in that way, you avoid the prohibition as the malacha was done inside the Beis Hamikdash or inside the Mishkan. Have a wonderful day.